Hello. Hi, everybody. Sorry for being late. I was trying to upload some stuff and it wouldn't. Hello. Come here. Come on. Good. Say hi. Hi. Say hi to everybody. Sorry for being late. I've been trying to upload stuff since like 25 minutes ago and it just wouldn't. Okay. Hi, everybody. Say hi, baby. Say hi. Say hi. Okay, let me say hi to everybody. Fire Butterfly, Carol, Angel Star, Darren, Reg, Lily, Lynn, Misty, Patty, Leah, Carol, Sarah, Bang Luna, Debbie, Nancy, MLB, Lily, Nikon Lady, Leia, Halina, Cindy, Sylvia, Fire Butterfly, CP. Fire Butterfly is also on Twitch. They're saying hi to you. Say hi to them. Amy, Chrissy, Taryn, Reg, Norisa, Robin, Juveline, Baa, Dodger Girl, also on Twitch, MLB, Linax, Kugi, Alta, Abby, Juveline, Shelling, Andrea, Personal Space, Sadrine, Hazel, Kaz, Leah. Okay, so I guess that's everybody. Say hi. And everybody who's not saying hello, hello. There's more than I think 100 of you, so and there's only a few that's saying hi. So I guess majority aren't saying hi. Melva, hi to everybody. I am Claudia. This is my dog, Debak. Okay. How is everyone doing? How's your weekend? Hazel, GD. Hi, GD. Is that GDS in G Dragon? Is he your bias? For Pos joining the live today. Yep, he is joining the live. Okay, he always wants his scratches for about 15 minutes and then he's gonna go down and go to his own bed. Hi, PZ. Did you watch VMA last night? How was it? How was your experience watching it? Um, there were Are we going to touch on the horror show of what ICE did in Georgia? No, we don't talk. I the something like that can easily go into the political side of things. So it shouldn't because it's just, it's a business thing, but I just choose not to. I don't want to get into the political side of things. It's just going to infuriate people and whatever. So let's just keep it light. We hate the VMAs. TLT, Angel Star. GD is my initials. GG. Okay, I thought GD as in G Dragon is here. Hey, how are you doing? Hi. I haven't watched that thing in years. Yes, happy for Jin. BTS is my bias. I know there was a huge. I know that there is some sort of a discussion as to who Army is going to push for Mama, whether it's going to be Jin or J Hope or whatever. And I think Jin, of course, those that are Jin biased, they're pushing for Jin because they're saying that Jin is the only one without a mama. The others already have theirs, so it is but right to push for Jin. So I don't really chime in on that because I think you've noticed that I don't really like when it comes to awards or whatever that is not in the US or in Europe. I really don't join a whole lot, primarily because I don't know how it works. So BTS paved the way. Hello, Hitomi. Um, so so I don't know what armies are gonna arrive into, if there's going to be an agreement, who's going to be pushed. But I I just don't know how to help when it comes to non-US and non-European awards. Not even in my home country, I wouldn't know how to help. So home country meaning the Philippines. So I don't know, but I know that there is some discussion as to who is going to be pushed, whether it's going to be Jin or J Hope. It's a toss between the two. So yeah, I didn't see the VMAs. Were they yesterday? It was yesterday. Yeah. Um, so okay, let's do news and updates first. Do you want that? Hi, Taiga. But I don't know. But in case of, but for the in I mean in terms of Mama, I really have no input on that because I don't usually talk about like Korean voting or whatever. I don't. The only thing that um I would say is that I would rather be very picky and choosy on what like awards we should be participating in, because I feel like a lot of the um awards that are, nominating BTS, is they're just trying to farm clicks. So if it's not a major award, might as well not, you know. So that's the only thing. But Mama is pretty major. So I guess just vote for who. Jin has not won, so I'm voting for Jin. So that's what I heard from a lot of armies, that because Jin hasn't won anything, they don't really wanna they wanna support Jin this time. So I mean that makes sense. If it doesn't have a Mama yet, then yeah, that makes sense. People are saying VMAs did not take into account the fan vote, so Jimin did not win because sponsors choose their winners. There was another one. Um, any thoughts on upcoming court dates? So I know that both are September 11. Um, I know that there was a development in terms of who. I mean, I think Big Hit, sorry, not Big Hit, Adore and Hybe changed their witness. That's one. Um, and then I think Min Hee-jin is actually going to appear personally in court, and this is for there are there is going to be a mediation, part two, for the New Jeans mediation. That's one. The second one, and it's happening in the same day, I think. And then the next one is the court date for the termination of the shareholders agreement. And in the shareholders agreement, I believe Min Hee-jin wanted to attend the hearing herself. So she is going to attend. And then the other is that um so since they said that since Min Hee-jin decided to submit evidence, pieces of evidence. I mean, she decided to submit forums, comments of fans on forums. Big Hit did the same. That they also submitted comments of fans on forums. So that might affect the outcome. Um, yeah, Adore changed their witness to the chief legal officer. Yeah, so uh, it's those things are ordinary, by the way, because when you do depositions, um, during the deposition is when the questioning happens. So and then the discovery. So there are some things that you kind of realize, and based on that, you can make some adjustments. Mama did have the award show one night in the US last year. Sandrine Santos, it's more that to have a clause that says they make the final decision on the winners, plus they never show the okay. Um and obnoxious, surely. Yeah, so so apparently what exactly, so to be exact about it, they have a website in Korea where employees can actually register as a member of that forum, but you do need company email to be able to register. So, to a certain degree, anybody who registers there, at the very least has an email of the company, right? So the assumption is that you're an actual employee. So there were a lot of employees that posted stuff about Min Hee Jin, about how unfair she is, and the chaos that was happening and stuff that we never really knew about because they're not hyped by Korean media. So the only posts that we know about are complaints, are employees talking about hype and whatever, but there are allegedly more comments that are actually working against Min Hee Jin. So that's what they decided to submit. So Hybe was like, and Adore was like, well, if you're going to accept that kind of an evidence, then we're going to submit our own. So that's what they submitted. So let's see how that's going to affect the determination of the shareholders agreement, because that's a major thing. If that pushes through and that gets canceled, then Min Hee Jin will have to fork whatever money she owes Bang Shiyuk from her own pocket. Because right now, she hasn't paid it because she's banking on being able to sell her shares in order to pay off Bang Shiyuk and then still have some for herself. Now, if the shareholders agreement is terminated, then she doesn't own the shares anymore, but she still owes money to Bang Shiyuk. So let's see what's going to happen. Um, and then I really don't have any insider information when it comes to the mediation. Just that, so I checked with the lawyer, um, and they said that it is, of course, the NDA. Usually in mediations like that is airtight, pretty solid. So hence the reaction of New Jeans when they were approached by reporters after the initial mediation. Um, Usually, though, she said the lawyer just said that just based on their reaction, it doesn't seem to be going on the facial expression. It doesn't seem to be going their way. And I also asked some insights as to what happens actually in a mediation. um like, is the court actually there, like is a court representative there? And he said that a court representative is there because everything has to be documented, but the court does not intervene in terms of what is actually gonna happen. They usually allow the two parties to do their own agreements. However, after he said that by now both parties will have already has a good idea. Both parties have a good idea as to where the court is going to swing. Usually at this rate, it's very rare for them to not know which way the court will most likely swing. So they probably already know. Like, if it is Hybe or Adore, then Adore probably already knows. Both parties already know that they're going to swing which way. So um and hence he thinks that that is why there is a part two in the mediation, because whoever is the one that is most likely not going to be favored is the one that's pushing for a mediation now, because then they don't want to lose. So let's see what's going to happen. Oh, the other thing that I asked is that in the mediation, is it possible for Adore to say, okay, we're going to let you go, but you're going to have to pay the penalty, so even if it means like paying it off in 10 years or whatever. He did say that that's possible. Uh, i- and that has happened before actually. So he said that that's possible, yeah. But he doesn't think, just based on his professional input, opinion, he doesn't think that it would be a door that would offer it. It would, if there's anybody who's going to offer that, it would be New Jeans. Because if a door offers it, or Hybe offers that kind of an arrangement, then it's going to show the court that there is a tinge in them that doesn't want New Jeans back, which is something that they are avoiding. So he said that, yeah, sure, that may be offered, that it will most likely be offered by New Jeans if it's even in the table. So those are just his professional opinion. Of course, he doesn't have anything in the case, like actual documents. So He's just also feeding off the minor, like very little information that we're getting from the media. So let's see what's going to happen. Personally, I don't want them back, of course. I can't imagine how things are going to be in Hybe with them back, right? Unless they apologize. But even then, I don't know. Like, I feel like the people there are very happy already. ILLIT, the Seraphim, they're so happy. Primarily the people that have been targeted by Minijin. Um, and also let's not forget the fact that Min Hee-jin tried to get in touch with the accountants of BTS to try and get an idea of their financial situation and the contract, um the terms of the contract. When I was talking with the lawyer, we did touch on that, and he did say that if you're hearing some stuff about their contract, then Min Hee-jin is probably hearing them too, and that's probably what made her want to get in touch with the lawyer, because she would want to verify the rumors that are going around in terms of their contract and the revenue share. I think no one wants them back. Maybe, yeah. I noticed that the only face in V's showcase behind the scenes was a woman that looks awful lot like Min Hee-jin. She was with V the entire time. In all of his schedules, she actually went with V. So yeah, she was with V, and that she was the producer. So she was with V in each of his schedule. It was surprising because they always blur the background people. Yeah. Well, okay. Then back to high building would be crazy. It would be crazy. I also don't want them back. I mean, but I'm just a fan. I have absolutely no say in this situation. So, but if you're hype, and adore, you have no choice but to actually show the court that you want them back. Otherwise, it's the court is gonna my dog's fur is actually going into my nose. Okay. Okay, once trust is broken, she made sure her face wasn't blurred, gross. Once, even like behind the scenes of the very limited behind the scenes of V, she was always visible. She was very visible in the behind the scenes. So it was, yeah. I mean, I I have never denied that she's talented. Like, she knows how to creative direct. That's one thing she knows how to do. So I absolutely understand why V actually wanted her as a creative director. She's good at what she does, right? So we're not debating that. What we're looking into is her character. So okay, late again. Hi, Anne. Second mediation meeting is just to appease the court. Rarely productive, Letitia said. She always wants credit. She always wants credit. Yeah, yeah. Um, but V is very smart. I mean, after everything, we have proven that he knows how to handle himself. He knows how to protect himself. So I'm pretty sure that it was a professional relationship. V did what he thought was best for him during that time. He certainly gave his reasoning for it. It was a very successful album, and we all know that at the end of the day, he makes the final decision. So it was he did what he knew was best for his career at that time. Okay, how will their working environment be? Just talking about MHJ and Bunny. Hope you feel better soon. Oh yeah, and get. I hope you feel better. Okay, it was interesting. Exactly, not blurred relates to character. She made his vision real, but his body language around her, he would pull back or avoid her in that way people do when they don't really like someone. MHJ may be talented but not trustworthy by any stretch of imagination. Yeah, we know that now. Hindsight is always 2020. But yeah, I think if there's anything V or any of the BTS members know by now is how to protect themselves, themselves after everything that they have done, they have gone through. So I have no doubt that V, as I've mentioned, did what was best for him at that time professionally, but I also have no doubt in his capacity to protect himself and protect his brand, and protect BTS as well. So I'm not worried about that at all. Like I know a lot. What That's one of the main points of discussion about it. I'm not worried about that at all. It's we always V seems to be like an angel, very soft, like he accommodates everybody, very friendly. But we also have seen how hard he draws the boundaries around him. We've seen that even when it comes to fans, right? He is very firm when he wants to. He tells it like it is. He would tell the fans that, even, I mean, in the last several live streams that he did, he actually told the fans that I'm doing a live stream with my voice because that's what I'm comfortable with. If you insist on me showing my face, I'm going to stop doing this. So he has bound. He knows that. So I am not worried about that at all. Okay, so I'm not giving her any flowers. She just co-ops other people's concept and takes credit for other people's vision. Yeah. Okay, so do you want to do news and updates first? Is this my news and updates? V is an angel. He's an angel and he's a genius, right? He's an angel and he's a genius. I'm not giving. Okay, so that is not it. Where's my news and updates? Oh, here's my news and updates. Te is soft and sweet with a core of a steel. He's funny with his boundaries, make me giggle. Yeah. He's actually firmer. I mean, at least when it comes to fans, his boundaries are firmer, or at least he's more vocal. I think that's the right terminology. He's more vocal about his boundaries, than some of the members, right? So, like, I have never heard Jimin be that firm against fans, not against, but on fans. Not even J Hope. They would usually ignore, which is their way of drawing boundaries, and that's perfectly fine. But V's vocal, like he's very vocal about it. So I'm not worried about that. And yeah, okay, I agree. Tay is an angel and a genius. Okay, so let's do the news and updates first. So, Le Seraphim is going to appear in America's Got Talent. It's going to be this Wednesday, so I hope that you watch it. If you can, I think it's 7:30 Pacific, if I'm not mistaken. You can watch on Peacock or on NBC. So if you have cable or if you have Peacock, then you'll be able to watch it live. Is this They are the only second Korean act to perform in America's Got Talent. So it's exciting. It's everyone's guess what they are going to perform. I hope it is crazy or common over, one of those two. So I hope that you watch out for that. I'm very excited. Also, another good news about them is that Prudential Life actually formally announced that their kickoff show in North America, which happened in Prudential, was actually a sold out. And we know by now that, yes, September. What did I say? So all August. No, sorry, September. September. I'm sorry. So that's September, not August. So we know that we one of the most reliable ways of knowing whether a concert was actually a sold out or not is when the venue actually confirms. And Prudential actually confirmed that it was a sold out, and so I'm very happy for them. So, and they released, some fans actually released some videos of their send off, and there were three fans in the send off that told her they were there in Prudential when Yoonjin was actually there to watch BTS. So, like 8 years ago, when she was there to watch BTS, the same fans were there. Isn't that great? And they said like, "Oh, we were there as well." So even for them, it was like a full circle because one of the people that they were watching with is now the person. One of the persons that they were watching with is now actually the person they are watching in Prudential. So it was a touching moment when they approached her after during the send off in Prudential. Okay, so please watch. That's September 10, not August 10. Sorry about that. The year is speeding me fairly, and it's easy to lose track. It is very easy to lose track. I don't know what happened to the first time. Do you remember this woman? Your responses are actually usually delayed, but I kind of want to make sure that you remember her. Do you remember her? Do you remember that face? Her exactly, not the BTS lookalike. I'm sure there were many BTS fans at the Le Seraphim shows. I think there were a few, yeah. Okay, all right. So that's Saya. That's her name, and I'm sure that you know who she looks like because it's pretty obvious. Okay, so she gave birth. No, me too. You don't know. So she is a Japanese, and she married a Korean actor, and she is Jungkook lookalike. And Jungkook actually acknowledged in one of his lives that they do look alike. Jungkook said, "Yeah, I saw her, I watched her, and he said, yeah, I do. We do look alike." So Jungkook actually acknowledged that they actually looked alike. Now she got married; they're already married. That's why she actually went to Korea so to marry the guy, and she already gave birth, and the kid looks exactly like her. And so I'm wondering whether or not when he grows up, he is gonna look like him. So that's the kid. And this is a public photo because his father and he actually joined a show. It's called The Return of the Superman. Okay. So that is a show where the father takes care of the kid for or kids for 2 days. I oh no, sorry. I think 2 nights. For 2 nights and 3 days. So the mom is not there, which is kind of funny in Korea because as you know, usually taking care of the kids that's primarily being led by the mother. So in this show, the mother is not present at all. And so usually in the first several months, it's super funny because the fathers would never know what to do with their kids without the mom. So he's newly born. So he's only I think he was born January. Um maybe no, maybe later. So now they joined the show Return of the Superman. They were on Return of the Superman. They are in Return of the Superman. Yeah, they just joined. So that's the name of the show, Return of the Superman. And if you want to, so I've been watching this show for a really long time. So I started watching it because of the triplets. So this is the triplets, the Song triplets. Song is also an actor in South Korea, and they have triplets. His wife is a judge in South Korea. So when he joined, they were this old. And then they stayed in the show for like I don't know, I think 3 years. But you were basically watching them grow up or something. You want to go down, baby? Okay, let's go down. Say bye. Say bye, everybody. I'm gonna see you later. I'm gonna see you later. I'm gonna go down and have a very comfortable nap in my bed. Say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. He's due for grooming. Okay, say bye bye. Say bye bye, baby. He's not moving. He doesn't want to go down. Come on. Okay. Okay. So he I've been watching it for a really long time. So, and it's like one of my favorite shows in South Korea because I actually I learned so much from the kids and of course the parents as well. But they are my favorite one, the song triplets. So this is how old they were when I first started watching Return of the Superman. They stayed on the show for about I think 3 years, and this is how old they are now. Look at that. They're so good. They're good. This was taken last year. So they're very tall kids, and one of them actually had, I think one of them already has a girlfriend or whatever. But if you want, please watch Return of the Superman. It's really one of the most entertaining shows that you will ever lay your hands on. Because it's really fun. It's funny, especially whenever every now and then some of the fathers would actually get together and have a playtime. Those are the funniest. So Saya, Haru is the name of the kid of Saya. His name is Haru. So Shim Haru is his name. If you want to watch him, go ahead. It's I think it's every Sunday. Okay. Yeah, I know they're so grown up now. It's like when I first saw them because they went out of the public eye. It's usually when the kids start like becoming big enough to kind of understand what was happening. The parents usually stop it because they want the kids to grow up normally. And so for them, once they started becoming aware that that they're famous and popular, they stopped doing it. And now in the last interview that they did, they were asked like, oh, do you know how popular you were and whatever, and they said they don't, and just sometimes people would actually come up to them and say like, oh, I've been watching you in Return of the Superman, but they didn't have any idea how popular they were. So um okay, so watch it if you want. So the Shim kid is there now. And then last night, at night for me, Cortez had their very first. Did you watch it? They had their very first showcase, and the full album is now released. So the entirety of the album is released. They had two pre-released singles, "What You Want" and "Go." And then last night they also released the Carrier single, which is the fashion. So I hope that you got to watch it. They're great. I mean, they obviously from beginning to end they were singing live. Hardly any backtracks. Um, but yeah, they're great. So here's the track list of their songs. You watched it. You watched Cortez. Who's your favorite? Who's your bias? For everyone who's actually like Cortez, who's your bias? The release party was awesome. Love watching Tablo when his daughter was a baby. It was amazing. So who's your bias right now? This is their track list. So they have 5 tracks in there, and as you can see, they wrote almost all the lyrics. Uh, there were some. They are credited in all of the tracks, but other people are also credited. So the ones that does not credit them as producers, they were produced by someone else. What You Want, Bang Hitman Bang is actually one of the producers. Album is so good. These guys are incredibly talented. I still don't quite mesh with their music, but really like their performances. Martin, wow, Martin James and Martin Conho James, Martin Conho, Juhun. I love their performances, and the kiddos are awesome. My favorite is Martin. Is this the baby boy group? Yes, the baby group. They are the youngest in Big Hit. I do think if I am going to make a prediction in the risk of being hated by some fans, I do think that Big Hit got it right this time. I mean, they always get it right from as obviously. I mean, look at BTS and then TXT. But I think in terms of like looking for a group that has a natural Western appeal, I think they got it right. For both big BTS and for BTS, of course, they didn't have any experience. So everything that they know about in terms of like penetrating the US market, everything came from BTS. um but with they've tried with other groups, right, and all of those groups are successful as well, but I think this one is different, which makes me very very happy because then when BTS members go on their individual projects, they do their individual projects. And I'm assuming the TXT members will also do their individual projects. At least you have this one group that will be taking care of the company. So they are the real deal. Yeah, I think they got it right. I was like, ah, okay. I think you got it right this time. So I'm happy for them. I agree. They are also very involved in their music. It feels like they are closest group to BTS. I think so. And it says a lot that they, like all of them actually look up to BTS. Like each of them would have one of the members as their like role model. So even Martin, one, I don't know if you already watched their documentary, but one of the things that stood out was when Martin insisted that he becomes a part of the A&R meeting, because usually the artists aren't there. And he insisted, like he said, I begged to be there. And he said that he made it known that he doesn't want to just write the lyrics. He actually wants the team, the entire group, to be a part of the decision making process of everything. So, okay, I love Joyride. I love Joyride. Martin with RM and James with Jimin. Let them find their footing. They're not a conventional K-pop group. Alternative K-pop, new to me. They aren't correct. They're not a conventional one. And that is why I think they will most likely appeal better to the Western market. And also, I think it would just have to accept that um that that anybody who debuts in Hype will have a hate campaign behind them, right? Because that's just the nature of the beast. You get a lot of privileges and a lot of resources when you debut under Hype, but also the disadvantages that you also have a lot of haters. So I think that's one thing that they will just learn, or probably they already know that there will be a lot of haters and there's really nothing they can do about it. So um proving themselves in the western market might be a good thing, but let's see what they plan on doing. If there's anything I am realizing about this group is that they're not a conventional one. They don't think conventionally either. So let's see. Okay, all right, let's see next. So this was just funny because look at their outfit. So this is them in their debut show, and everyone and someone a lot of people were leaving comments like, what are they wearing, like just like they look like they just pulled something from the clothes rack and then wore it. And someone commented that they're chipping away from the clothes in spring day. They're like, oh, because Big Hit has a lot in that the spring day mountain of clothes, and they're chipping away. So I just found it so funny. Probably you can probably find any of the things that they're wearing in this pile of clothes. So okay, Hybe is the best agency. The jealousy is off the charts. It is off the charts. My God. Anybody that that only goes to show just how how thick of a skin ILLIT and Le Seraphim and TXT and even BTS have already developed. For them to be able to take all of this is just, oh my God. But anyway, this one's funny. Like one of the comments said, "Oh, they're just chipping away from the mountain of clothes in spring day." That's why they're just wearing whatever it is that they can find. So funny. Okay. So just to give you an idea, this is how different they look. Each member each group looked in their debut. So this is BTS, and then you have TXT on above the two photos, and below that would be Cortez. Okay, so just funny. Okay, next, this is also another look at how they looked like during their showcase. So different. They can't be brought. You will not know that they are being raised by the same parents. Okay, next. We're gonna get to the Jimin death threats. We're just in news and updates right now. Okay. Sorry, all of my dog's fur went into my nose. because his fur is kind of thick already. Okay, next. This is someone asked me about trainee A. So this is the original team, the original trainee A team. And there were supposed to be they were supposed to be seven in the team. So this is the original one. You can you spot James? So one of the things that I learned is that a lot of the hate are actually, please save those photos to Patreon. Okay, I will save those photos to Patreon. So a lot of one of the things that I learned over the weekend is that there James has a lot of haters. In the group, James is the one with a lot of haters, primarily because he never left Big Hit. That's the reasoning that I blocked a lot of people, um, because he stayed with everyone else left and he stayed with Big Hit. So they're kind of like salty that he managed to debut after everything. So, but the good news is that everyone actually debuted, right? And I think I've mentioned last time that Leo actually gave an interview. Well, he had an interview in one of the podcast shows, and he didn't hold back. He said that he is still very close to all of the members, and then he's very close to James, and that before debut, after debut, they would constantly text. And he said that the only reason they don't talk more is that James is so busy, but he seems to not have any like animosity towards Big Hit, or at least the members, because he's still talking very highly of them, which is a good sign, right? Because they were together for almost like 3 years, and so for that friendship to go to waste, it would have been like, but they're good. So, okay, so that's James's arm, of course. Well, the leader is Martin. So James is the eldest. He's the eldest, but Martin is right in the middle. He's the middle child, just like RM. Okay. Herin, which I think is the youngest member of New Jeans, has a new brand deal. She has a new brand partnership. So a lot of people are saying that this is new, that this was not, primarily because of the timing. They haven't been active in the last 2 years. And so they doubt, like I also doubt that the brand would be holding out that long. But it came out. So the only explanation would be that this was actually arranged by Big Hit. I mean, not Big Hit, but Adore and Hybe. And so if that is true, that gives us an idea on what's actually happening. I've always mentioned this before, that the one, the girls, New Jeans, will kind of really feel the impact of what is happening when the checks stop coming, right? When you stop getting paid, that's when it will really hit you, because it's going to affect everything in your life. And so I think 2 years without any kind of brand partnership, after being showered for 2 years with brand partnerships and 3.5 million each and whatever, I think, you know, they probably gave in. They're starting to work with Adore for this brand partnership, because this seems to be new. Okay. Okay. We have the weak link, maybe. um Most likely, yeah. I mean, she's the youngest, I think. um but also, like, look, I kind of thought in the beginning that it was going to be Minji, the one that's the she was going to be the weakest link, because she seemed to be the one that's getting the least amount of breaks or attention in creatively. So I thought it was going to be her, but anyway. Okay, so Cat's Eye won Push Performance of the Year. um of course, I'm very happy for them. So Sophia said something in Filipino on stage. She said, "Maraming maraming salamat po." And that means thank you very much. And then I think Lara also said something in Indian, but I don't know what that is. She'll probably also thank everybody. So I'm very happy for them. Congratulations to Cat's Eye. I'm going to teach you one word in Filipino every day. I'll teach you the bad ones first, okay? All right. Starting next week, I'll teach you one. And then song of the year, it was Die with a Smile. It's not Die with a Smile, Apathy, sorry. Apathy won song of the year. So that's Bruno Mars and Rose. Now, there's a misinformation going around saying that they are the first Asians to win. Bruno Mars is also Asian. He's Filipino, saying that they are the first Asian to win the Song of the Year. That's not true. The first Asian to win the Song of the Year is Olivia Rodrigo. She's Asian. She's half Filipino. Her father is Filipino. She acknowledges that. So just wanted to put it out there that no, she's not. They weren't the first. It's actually Olivia Rodrigo. Okay. Sophia shows why she is the leader. Yeah, she was very gracious in that stage. But also, I think also credits to Lara, because in the beginning Sophia was letting her talk, right? Like, okay, you go ahead and deliver the thank you speech. And then I think, I don't know, like after one sentence reading from that copy, Lara gave Sophia the mic. But also there were a lot of cameras on the girls the entirety of the show, and she Sophia was being a true blue mother to the girls. Like, she had candies and chocolates in her bag, giving it to the girls. Lip gloss, like everything they needed, they were just turning to her and asking her from it, and she would give it to them like a true blue mother that she is, right? Okay. Best K-pop was won by Lisa. um so Ray and what's her name? So I know it's controversial saying that it's not K-pop, it's an English song. Nothing K-pop about it, but you know, they won. So, so congratulations to her. Did she thank Bang Shiuk? She did thank Bang Shiuk. So she thanked Bang Shiuk. She thanked Geffen. She thanked Jennifer. I think she's the creative director in Geffen. So she thanked them. So Bang Shiuk, yes, she called Bang Shiuk the visionary, the creative visionary behind the group. And then Geffen, of course, Hybe, and of course the fandom. So icons. I like Born Again, good song, but I don't get how it's ahead of everything else. I don't think that's necessarily. We've known this before. I did an entire video on VMAs. The the rules definitely states that they can overturn the voting. So they basically said that, okay, there's voting, but if we feel that that is not the right result, they can change it. That has always been the case. So I wasn't really surprised when she won. I do agree that even if it's not, let's just take out like Jimin, for example. If we take out that song, I still think the others deserved it better just because it's a better song. But I'm not VMA, so I mean, sure. I mean, congratulations to her. They reserve the right to determine the winner at their discretion. Yeah, so they can change the result anytime. So I mean, it's always in awards like VMAs. It's always engagement farming. So I wasn't really surprised that that happened. Okay, very nice. I can win the best K-pop. Okay. How these awards are given are so dumb. It is, but also calculated. I think they know exactly what they are doing. I mean, these people are. I know they know the criticisms coming. I think it's just that they don't care because you can't do anything anyway. They said in their rules that they can change. It is up to them who they're going to declare as a winner. So, I still, I mean, more power to her. She is working really, really hard. In all fairness to Lisa, she's working hard. It's not her fault that she gets the networks that she gets. If anybody was put in her position, I'm sure that they would also maximize those connections in order to get to what she wants. So let's be gracious about it. She got it. So congratulations to her. Okay. All right. But here is your emotional support picture because I know that you need it. There's Jimin. So this was taken the same night they went to the art show. So that's another. Just wanted to make things better for you. So there's your Jimin. Um, I know that Rose did not even say thank you to Blinks. She only said her fans. I'm surprised that people are not paying attention. I don't think it's a big issue for Blinks though. I think they're kind of used to it. Yeah, no thanks are got okay. Uh I know voting seems futile at times, but if we don't vote, who will? Who will advocate for BTS members? Correct. It's just that really the only thing that we can do, right? We just need to do what we can and then just leave it to whoever has control because there's nothing much that we can do. She may work hard, but the results are subpar, in my opinion. Her songs are not mine is more Rose's. Of the four, you know this, Rose is actually my favorite member. So in terms of musicality, I like Rose's more. Um, I do acknowledge though that in terms of like the sound, the sonic elements of it, J- Jenny has seems to be more the most versatile of the four. So, what is the point of voting? Just so we can show our support. That's it. That's really the point. In this pick makes me feel better. It makes everybody feel better, don't you think? I mean, he doesn't even have makeup. I don't know what kind of skincare he actually has. He needs to do a live stream just to show his skincare because it's not fair that his skin is that great. He doesn't have makeup, no lipstick, no nothing. Just this is unfair. Don't you think? Okay, but I am glad that it makes you happy. When I saw the picture, it also made me very happy. Um, and then this is just a zoomed out version of it. He's wearing all Levi's, and I think he's worn this jacket before, but he's wearing all Levi's, and then yeah. So there's your emotional support pick. I'm not upset about Jimin not winning, who had very little promotion. It's gone so far. I'm proud of Jimin. Oh yeah, I mean I think it's one of the most successful solo songs by a Korean act by an Asian native acts of all time. One of the most successful. I would certainly put it in the top 10 for sure. For sure. Oh, even though I like Crazy more. In terms of like quantitative success, I think who objectively belongs to the top 10, maybe even top 5 of solo songs of all time from an Asian native. Okay, so good. I'm just happy that that they are able to do stuff. A lot of people are so surprised, like, oh, why is RM and Jimin hanging out a lot? I don't know, maybe because they've been bandmates for 13 years. I don't understand why people are so puzzled. Like, isn't that, I know, I understand that for a lot of fandoms, many of these groups actually stop hanging out once they become inactive, and they feel like, and so it's odd for a lot of people that for BTS they still hang out like even if they don't have to. So just want to remind everybody that these two have been bandmates for 13 years plus 6 years before that. I mean, 6 months before that when Jimin joined. So that's not surprising. Also, they live in the same building. Just so it's very convenient, don't you think? I don't know why people are so puzzled. Okay, but here is another emotional support picture. That is Suga. My favorite Jimin solo song is Face Off. Oh, really? Face Off? Okay. I get that. I understand that. That I can get. Okay, so that is okay, that is Suga, another emotional support picture for you. Oh, you think he looks good? um and then one more Suga. I think this is a newer one. Okay, he's recording. So here's your, I hope that these things actually make you feel better. And then one more picture. I've never seen this picture before. Someone sent it to me last night. So I added it last minute. That is Jin. Doesn't he look good? He really should walk. I feel like it's about time that Gucci actually asks him to walk in Fashion Week or whatever, in a fashion show or something. But he definitely should walk. He looks so good. Okay. Okay. I think I have one more. That's it. Oh yeah, there you go. That's my last emotional support picture. Okay, let's move on. Beautiful man, hot. Wow, Sok Jin. Jin, Jin. Yes, Jin. He looks good, right? Okay, so I will put all of those pictures there. So, do you want to do the lawsuits first, or do you want to do co- the the misconceptions, the misinformations? He would be good at that. I also think that, yes, I definitely think that he should walk. It's about time that he walks. And that shoulder was created to launch to launch fashion brands. So they need to actually get into that. Okay. Do you know if Jimin was dropped from Dior? He was not dropped. It was confirmed by the creative director. He said that Jimin is still a brand ambassador. And I've explained this. I've never, but just for full transparency, I've never seen their contracts. But do know that for like super A-list celebrities, they don't go to a lot of these fashion shows because they don't need to. Think about it. When was the last time you've seen Beyonce go to a fashion week? When was the last time she did so? Never. So the less that they can demand of you, the higher stature their stature is. So I think one of the things that so before the contract is actually was actually drawn, these things have been agreed. Like how many events can he attend? When they can actually call him. So that's probably one of it. Like he's not going because it's not included in his contract, and it is not included in his contract because that's how he wanted it. Fairlane, you will be here going through misconception. They never end. Yeah, so I just chose like the top 10 for this, and then we'll do another batch another time, because my plan is to actually do a series for each member. So I kind of limited it to some of the most important ones, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay. Jimin created so much chaos when he went to Dior. He shut down a damn city. Sugar. Okay, so do you want to do the lawsuit or the misinformation? Jimin just have to wear anything Dior and it's sold out. He doesn't need to be there. Death threats. Okay, so that's the lawsuit. Okay, let's talk about this. So, um, let's start with with Felix of Stray Kids. Number one, I know that someone was asking about, so Stray Kids, the band, they're actually very very respectful of BTS. Their leader has actually gone on record, and even Felix and the other members has they've actually gone on record and said that we just all have to accept the fact that BTS paved the way because they did. They acknowledged that, and they said that a lot of doors actually opened because of BTS. They've always been very very respectful of BTS. So all this wars, that's just on a fan level. These are just Stray Kids fans and some of the Toxic Army fans that are just going at it, but the two groups are fine. so there is absolutely no reason for us to wage war against the group, because they are respectful of BTS and they acknowledge the impact and the influence that BTS and the doors that BTS open for them. So let's just be respectful. And then the other thing is, I because a lot of people are asking, like, why do I post about the achievement of Stray Kids? Just wanted to let everybody, I just want to remind everybody that this is Asian entertainment. So I talk a lot about BTS because they're my favorite group. The other thing is that BTS, they are secured in their position. They haven't had a comeback in 4 years, and their records stand. So I don't know what the big deal is about acknowledging the record that other people or other groups are setting. We know what's going to happen once they come back. So, okay. All right. So, Felix actually went to the US court to ask X to provide them the information of certain users. All right. So, he won that. So, the court will now compel X to disclose the information of certain users. And these users have been defaming him for the last 3 years, and they finally decided to file a lawsuit. Okay, so he won that. So X will have no choice but to actually provide the information to them. Now, after this, it was announced that Bang Chan also filed a case, and it's for the same thing. She wants X to disclose the information of the accounts that have been defaming him. Okay, so for Felix, he already won not won, but he was granted what he was requesting. Okay, so he has that. He just needs, I'm sure that the lawyers are working now. They just want to be able to get the information of the users. Okay, so this was the summary of what Bang Chan is actually suing for. All right. So good. That is great news. This is this is now, we now have several idols actually winning injunctions and winning lawsuits. We know that Wonyoung actually was one of the first few to sue this Twitter account, creating videos that are defaming them. And then we know that Jungkook and V also sued this person, and now it's Felix and then Bang Chan. Okay, for Wonyoung and for V and Jungkook, they sued the same person. But Bang Chan and Felix are not suing that same person. It's a different account that they are looking for. So this is a page of the lawsuit that he filed. So in the lawsuit, you can actually see the name of the X accounts that they want to sue. Okay. So those are two of the ones that he's actually asking X to reveal. Now, some fans actually went, and a lot of Stray Kids fans, a lot of stays already know this account. Okay. So, and they have been submitting to JYP screenshots. They record the video that she created to defame Felix and Bang Chan. And then other accounts actually created deep fake. So they created an AI version of Bang Chan and Felix doing, very indecent things. Okay. So this specific screen cap is from a video where she claimed Bang Chan said the N word and insulted some people. Okay, so but it was AI generated. It was deep fake. So now the excuse of this account is that she was debunking the misinformation. She said that you can't sue me because I'm actually correcting the information that this is actually Bang Chan. So you can't sue me. Okay, so that's her defense. Now, the accounts that they are suing already deactivated. So this is part of the statement of Bang Chan and Felix in their corresponding lawsuits. Okay, so this is what Bang Chan said: being depicted of saying the sexually explicit statements have caused significant harm to my reputation as a singer, and I have suffered significant mental distress, physical distress, and humiliation, and I've been devastated by the sexual explicit manner in which I have been falsely depicted. So remember, this is important because it was a video. It was a video. That's why they sued. Okay. Okay. Um, now, in South Korea, they already criminalized deep fake pornography. So any when people create AI generated images or videos of idols, real idols, or anybody for that matter, and you pass it on as true, especially if they are doing something compromising, if it's explicit, racist, anything that could defame them or destroy their reputation, they are already liable to the court, so they can be sued. So new laws aim to boost penalties with distribution or creation punishable up to 7 years in prison. So good for South Korea because they were very, very clear in their laws. You create a deep fake or AI generated videos or images of people, pass it on as true, especially if and when they are doing something, or um, it implies that they are doing something indecent or racist or criminal or whatever, then you can go to jail. Simply watching or possessing can bring 3 years prison or up to 30 million won. So you don't have to create it. For as long as you save it, you have it. And even if you're not doing anything about it, you can still be sued. That's what the law states. And so what the when the lawyer of these two accounts said that they cannot be sued because they're simply correcting the misinformation, that does not fly to the court, because that court is saying for as long as you have possession of the video, then you will be criminally liable. Okay, and so that's what Felix and Bangchan are actually doing. So now someone actually came into the defense of the account holder and said that the person who posted the video of Bangchan is a minor. Please stop this. He is a child. They didn't even make the video, they reposted the video off of someone else's account. There should be no legal action against a child who made a horrible mistake. Bangchan fans are weirdos for attacking a literal child. So that is what this account is saying, which stays think is actually the same account, the same person. Okay. Anyway, so they're saying that it's a child. All right. So the main thing is that what Felix, now I'm discussing all of this because this is going to fit into what is going to happen to BTS. Okay. So what both Bang Chan and Felix are filing is a civil lawsuit. It's not a criminal lawsuit. So whatever happens, whether or not they actually are proven to be um, guilty of it, they are not going to go to jail. So they are most likely going to be fined, but definitely not go to jail because it's a civil lawsuit. Now, if the user is underage, civil cases can still happen. You can still sue the person, but you're going to be suing the guardians. So not once Felix and Bangchan actually gets the information, the identity of this person from X, that's when they can make their next step. If it is indeed a minor, then they will sue the guardians. Okay. Criminal justice have for minors tend to be more rehabilitated. So most likely it's going to be like community service, taking classes. So it seems that what Felix and Bangchan are doing is that they just simply want accountability. They want the person to be accountable. They want the person to know. And most likely, they are probably wanting to set an example using the person to discourage others from doing so. Maybe it's a warning shot that, okay, even this one is a minor. If you're of age, then we're probably going to sue you next time. So don't do it. Okay. Next. So if the US, so that's it. So penalties are adjusted based on age, intent, and harm done. In other legal systems, lawmakers have introduced tiered penalties. So it depends on the economic situation of the person who's actually doing the crime or who's doing the offensive thing. Now, remember that this thing is actually a video. It's deep fake. And that's actually what made the agency, well, the idol, Felix and Bangchan, to sue, and then the agency actually doing it for them. Because it is video. Very, very, very visual. Right? Okay. Okay. So now the question is, What about fan fiction? Because we all know that the names of the group members or many idols are actually being used for fan fiction. And a lot of this fan fiction are actually R18. So they're very sexual by nature. And many of them are actually using the actual names of the idols. I mean, at least their screen names and then the name of the. So they are identifiable. Okay. So if deepfake is criminal, then does this mean that fan fiction can also be considered criminal? By the way, the criminalization of deepfake, that is in South Korea. Okay. All right. So for fan fiction, which is text only, often published on sites like AO3, Wattpad, or Twitter, and then deepfake is digitally manipulated images or video, making it look like the idol is in sexual or criminal scenarios. So those are the difference. Fan fiction is text, deepfakes, manipulated images or videos. Okay. So in South Korean lens, defamation, you can actually sue or even civilly or criminally if you're if your writing harms a person's reputation, even if it is technically fiction. So they can be sued. That is the answer. Can fan fiction writers be sued? Yes, they can absolutely be sued. Let that sink in. If they use the names of the idols and the idol's identity is clearly identifiable in the fiction, they can be sued. Okay, whether or not they're going to win is an entirely different story. But yes, they can be sued. Okay. Um, Sexual exploitation laws indicate that explicit deepfake videos are already criminalized. Written fan fiction does not fall under the same law since it's not image or videos. Okay. So in the criminalization law that they did, that does not include that does not mention text. But if a fan fiction is highly explicit, public, and names of the idols directly, and names the idol directly, the idol could file a defamation or a civil lawsuit for emotional distress. Okay, so even though in the law that they passed, that South Korea passed, it does not include fan fiction, it doesn't mean that they cannot be sued. They absolutely can sue. Fan fiction writers can still be sued. But okay, so it's going to fall under defamation, right? Okay. No one has sued for sexually explicit fan fiction. We know that they are aware of it. Okay. We know that. But no one has sued for fan fiction. Someone has sued for deepfake, not for fan fiction. Okay, so what does that imply? I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I know is that according to my interview with the entertainment lawyer, uh, for you to actually prove defamation, you need to be able to present concrete loss, economic loss, mostly economic loss. You can submit for emotional distress or, if possible, physical distress, but mostly economic. You need to prove that because of this thing, you had some economic losses. That's the strongest case. So, but so far, no one has sued any fan fiction writers. A fan fiction that represents an idol as a villain for a ship that causes hate for said member can be sued. Correct. That can be sued. No one has done it. But yes, remember, a fan fiction writer, if you write somebody's name, if in your fan fiction, the member is clearly identifiable, clearly, and it causes them harm, that you can sue that person. The question is, how can you prove harm? That is the main question that everyone needs to before they sue. How can we prove harm? Mostly the strongest case is if you can make a connection between the work and how it affected you economically. That's a straight case. Easy victory for you, but also not very easy to prove. So how then? If for example, BTS members are being written about day in and day out, but they continue to rise, then what kind of damage did that cause them? So then you're going to have to go to emotional or physical damage, right? And that's harder to prove. Okay. All right. So who's causing trouble in the chat? But still, it means that fan fiction is defamation of character, right? It can be classified as defamation of character. I just want to make it clear that defamation is a legal term. So, can this be classified as defamation of character? It can, but it's going to depend on what kind of evidence you will be presented with. That you what kind of evidence can you present to the court to prove that it was defamation of character? Is that clear? We're gonna get into the BTS members. Okay, so who is causing chaos in the chat before I go into BTS? Because that's next. What if it starts fan wars? Does that count? No. No. This is not a legal advice, by the way. Just want to make it clear. This is not a legal opinion, not a legal an official legal advice. Just coming from somebody who's been through some, who've sued some people for defamation and stuff. Lucy, but with the movie names, not the real people names. Now, you need to be identifiable. So whoever you write there has to be clearly identified. It cannot be maybe it's him, maybe it's not. It has to be clearly that person. Okay. Um to be suing anyone, we're not. Oh, can we please not use the term trash cooker? Most of us use that arte antis and replace his name with trash. Trash cooker. Trash cooker? Yes, that's clear. It still means, though, that it's an attack on their character, even if it can't be proven in court. Correct. Correct. Yeah. So defamation is a legal term. Attack on character is just attack on character. Over 400 watching. Please consider liking. It helps the channel, and Fairlane does a great job bringing us information. Thank you. Okay. Haven't seen anyone. Okay, great. All right. So next. So now let's go into BTS and specifically Jungkook. So the woman who broke into his apartment, so scary. Not apartment, but his house, was actually sent to prosecution. So this is a criminal case, not a civil case. So she can actually go to court. And usually when it is a criminal case, especially for something like this, because she was arrested on site. Okay, so she was arrested on site. Usually, what happens is that it's if it's a criminal case, it's actually the state or the city or the country against the person who committed the crime. So this is pretty straightforward. So she's going to get sued. Now, is it possible for this woman to strike a deal against with Jungkook? Like for example, if she says, okay, I'm not going to do it again, can I just write a written apology or whatever? And Jungkook accepts, that's definitely possible. Um, a lot of people actually do that. They just ask for forgiveness. So it is possible that even though she gets sued, that Jungkook actually forgives her. Of course, we don't want, I mean, sure, forgiveness is one thing, but she still needs to serve, right? I mean, you broke into somebody's house. That's not that's not a joke. So I hope that she actually serves time. Okay. Um, now this case, because this is a public case, most likely the police will provide people information, updates on the case because it's Jungkook, and when it's Jungkook, people actually listen. So let's expect that development of this case, whether or not Jungkook wants it out or not, will be public. Now, do remember though that that is not the case for all cases that they are handling. This one is public because the circumstances just simply became public. But many of the cases that Big Hit is filing, or Hybe, Big Hit and Hybe are filing for BTS, they are not public. Always remember that. Some like this become public, but not all of them. Okay, so we're just gonna have to wait. Let's hope that Jungkook actually pushes through with this. I'm sure that he will, but I mean, I hope that he actually asks for the woman to serve time. Okay. Sounds like she needs psychological help for sure. I mean, what kind of person would break into somebody's house and say that, well, I'm his friend, even though you're not? Just that's nuts, right? um, and then the woman that we all saw during the one that was, yes, brushing her teeth in front of his house, she also was already forwarded to prosecution. Okay, so now the second case is actually involves Jimin, and it was someone who posted a death threat against Jimin. And so it was originally, I guess this is Spanish, and this is the translation. So my God, I'm already in South Korea. Now I'm very close to Park Jimin. The good thing in is that in Korea I already have people who will help me, since money, everything can be bought for people. With a little longer my tekooks, the end of Park Jimin is about to end, and finally our tekook will be free to show his love without fear of anything. This is crazy. Ending Park Jimin's life, this is just the range. Ending Park Jimin's life won't be difficult for me. Nothing will stop me. And finally, our beloved Taeyong will be number one in everything and happy with us. That's why my sisters were going to end the biggest problem called Park Jimin. Okay, so obviously this person is just deranged. I mean, how can you? This is just okay. This is just nuts. Okay, now this one became very public because she posted it publicly. Okay. Now this is they were able to identify the account owner. So that is her TikTok. I think that's her TikTok account. Either TikTok or probably IG. Now she is a known fan of TikTok. I mean, of TikTok, not TikTok, but of TikTok. So a shipper. And the picture that I covered is pretty explicit. But if you go through her profile, it's pretty disgusting. The things that it's just definitely manipulated and edited, but it's pretty disgusting. So now this one is specifically towards Jimin, but don't think that Jimin is the only person this is happening to, or the only BTS members that this is happening to. Every member has a problem like this. They all have crazy aunties that just want to harm them and are very public about this thing. It's just that this became public because fans of Jimin just blew it up. Now other aunties doing this to other members isn't simply just they're not blowing up. So just wanted to make it clear that every member has this problem. Okay. So now remember that in South Korea, if you go to her page, a lot of the things that she's posting, V and Jungkook can actually sue for them because they're pretty explicit. They're disgusting. That's how I can absolutely disgusting. The way they manipulate images is just, oh my god. Like what the this belongs to Pornhub or something. Okay. So what we do know is that Hybe and Big Hit regularly files lawsuits. They don't and they shouldn't update the fans on what they are doing to avoid accounts or people they are suing from burning evidence. Because if they announce it, then all these haters are just going to go private, and they won't be able no one will be able to track them, or they're going to delete their accounts. So many of them actually, they file lawsuits regularly. So the best thing to do is to just send the evidence screen cap to protect dot hide something, um and report them. Okay. So, but on the one hand, the one thing that we do need to understand, because a lot of people are gonna ask, like, okay, if Big Hit or Hype is doing their job, why are many of these accounts still on? Like, they've been on for years and years and years. The number one reason is jurisdiction. It's not that easy to figure out, especially if it is online. For Felix and for Bangchan, it was easy because the person who made the crime, who committed the crime, actually lives in South Korea. The crime itself has no jurisdiction because it is online. But the person who did it and the victim, Felix and Bangchan, are based in South Korea. The jurisdiction is easy to figure out. But for something like this, it seems that she is from I don't know, Spain, maybe. I have absolutely no idea where she's from. But it's not that going to be easy to figure out, because where is the jurisdiction then? The crime happened online. She's not from South Korea. The victim is in South Korea. So what Hybe will have to do is first ask the US court to disclose the information of the user. And for example, if the person that did it lives in a country that has a extradition agreement with the US, or a member of Hague Convention, then they can actually work with that country so that they can turn over the person. Okay. If number one, South Korea has extradition agreement with that country. So for example, let's just say she's from Spain. Let's just say that she's from Spain. I don't know where she is, but let's just assume that. If South Korea has an extradition agreement with Spain, or both South Korea and Spain are member of the Hague Convention, then South Korean court or South Korean lawyers can then ask that country to turn over the person to South Korea and hear her case in South Korea. If she came from a country that does not have an extradition agreement in South Korea and is not a member of Hague Convention, good luck. That's really is the situation. Like, what are you gonna do? Where are you going to sue this person? You can't go into one country and just arrest somebody. You have to work with local authorities. So the extradition agreement and the Hague Convention membership is necessary for a lawsuit to actually go smoothly. I'm not saying that there is no way. That probably there is, but it's not going to be that easy. That is why many of these accounts are foreign accounts, and mostly in countries where, I know, Africa or something, countries that are not very cooperative. You can't implement your law into somebody else's country. So that's just the curse or the gift, both the curse and the gift of social media. So they should change how they interact with each other or skinship. I wouldn't do that, primarily because the minute that you allow, and I've always say this to you guys and even to myself, if you allow someone else to dictate how you act and how you live, then they win, regardless of what they regardless of whether or not they accomplish what it is that they're saying. The minute that you allow them um to dictate what you do. Okay. Questions. So, Fairlane, forensic locations are not that hard to resolve. My son is an international lawyer. They may have access. No, as I've said, the location, yeah, you might be able to identify this person, but you still have to work with local authorities. Once you recognize, you establish once you know who this person is, then you still have to work. You can't go in there and just arrest the person. have to work with local authorities. So either an extradition treaty, and that's like a long process, or if they are a member of the Hague Convention. So in the Hague Convention, they all agree that they will honor each other's law in the country within reason, of course. But like, you can't, for example, in copyright laws, you can't copy the works of people in my country in your country. So in the Hague Convention, that's included. But that is the reason. So and even if, as I've said, even if you're able to identify where the person is from, it's not that easy to implement, because you still need to work with local authorities. Could they block the person's travel to South Korea? They could, yes. But then that's also, all of this are not that easy to implement, right? And also, blocking them is not going to stop them from doing all of these things. Just like it was a tech cookers specifically who were stalking that lady who posted edited video of JM. It was who brought it up on X. Huh? Just like it was a tech cookers specifically who were stalking that lady who posted edited videos of Jimin. It was who brought it up on X. Yes, all toxic shippers need to leave the members alone, and we need to report them all and call them. That's really the only thing that you can do. But I guess my point is that there is this like a lot of people, a lot of fans are just demanding for Big Hit to do something or whatever. Most likely they are doing something, but they are in under no obligation. And in fact, it's wiser for them to not update anybody on what they're doing, because you don't want the other person to be able to prepare, right? If they announce it, then then the other person will be able to prepare. So it's better that they're not announcing it. Many of these demands of fans to, like, for Big Hit to announce it, they're just trying to make themselves feel better. It's not really for the idol. Disgusting that they can get away with it, and as you say, still online because platforms can block. But they have to sue the followers too. They have hundreds of followers of that woman. To do what? I mean, for what is the offense? What kind of is that even? Remember, many of the things, if you watch that interview I did with the entertainment lawyer, one of the things that he mentioned is that usually once something happens, like a new technology, for example, it takes them 10 years to legislate it. Okay. And then 10 years for that to do a cycle where the law gets tested, right? So they put in regulations, 10 years for that regulation to get tested. So it gets revised and whatever. So that's initially, if you think about it, from the time something is invented or something rolls out, for example, social media, from the time it was born, for that, for us to have a law or regulation that's kind of sophisticated enough, it's 20 years. So that's how long it takes. Why should healthy behavior be changed? Correct. You shouldn't. Okay. All right. I agree. Sue the followers too. They are the fuel. Her page is either taken down or she changed her handle. It's only copy accounts in private. She went private already. Uh, yes, she went private quite some time ago. Follow that disgust content and be part of this as an offense. Okay. Well, that has to be legislated. You can't sue somebody if there is no regulation against it. Remember that in the law, because there is inclusion, everything else is an exclusion. If you include something, everything else should be an exclusion. Okay. Tech cookers are crazy. All shippers are like, okay, that's not a fair statement. I do know some shippers who are just shipping quietly. And as I've always said, like, if for as long as you keep it to yourself, I have no problem with that. Just don't come into my space and impose that I believe in what you believe in. If it helps you, Okay, but just don't bring it into my space. Don't bring it into the public and wage war on anybody who doesn't believe in what you believe in, right? I mean, everyone, each one of us has some crazy idea in our heads. So keep it to yourself and we're all good. So I know that there are some shippers that are just quietly shipping. I'm like, okay, just don't bring it into my space. Okay. Um all right. So that is the situation. Just always remember that we can only do our part. So you see something like this, screen cap, and make sure that you screen cap your entire screen. That's what they're saying. You can't screen cap only that part. You have to screen cap the entirety of your screen. You send it to Big Hit, and then you just leave them to handle it. Now, is there anything you can do, like as fans? Is there anything that we can do to stop these shippers, or there's nothing you can do? If you get to this point of derangement, there's absolutely nobody can do unless she herself would want to get better. So the best thing to do is report them and then unfollow. The minute you engage, you're just contributing to the derangement. IP address can indicate country origin and things will roll from that point. Yeah, all of this are easy to say. There certainly are ways that they can use to mask things. But as I've said, even if it's not even that, like even if it is, even the entertainment lawyer that I interviewed is saying that they actually have tricks on how to identify these people, right? But the one thing that you need to think about is how are you going to implement that if it is in a country that has no extradition treaty with the country that you're in or is not a part of the Hague Convention. Okay. All right. If JK and Ted didn't like Tech Cooker content, this would have died down. Didn't like Tech Cooker content? I miss the days. What do you mean? I miss the days when people would write their fantasies in a diary. Sorry, I made a typo before, but I think Hyde taking serious legal actions would actually help because as of now, they run free. I went too far. They, as I've said, we don't know what they're doing. So we can only do our part. Just report. Just report. Okay, I'm ready to move on to the next topic. One of the issues I have with Takeover is that they use Steph for fan wars. They throw him under the bus when he does anything that doesn't fit their fan. This is also true for all members, by the way. Like, I mean, the latest, yeah. But yes, V is constantly subjected into this. Yes, I agree. Okay. I don't believe they would like that. There's a group of grown up women in TikTok that makes lives talking so disgusting things about Ted. They are G cookers. So every radical fan of anything can be crazy toxic. Correct. Any fan of whatever. Okay, let's end with something light. Because I know that knowing somebody's threatening somebody's life can be infuriating. So let's end with something light. Let's talk about misinformation about BTS. Okay. So I limited to 10 because I'm planning to do a series for each member. Okay. So let's just go through it. And then if I did not include anything that you want to know about, let's discuss it. All right. First common misconception is that BTS failed in the beginning of their career. This is like a lot of fans actually like talking about this, that they were snubbed, that nobody wanted them, that they didn't have any kind of fans. And then you have some producers talking about, if you would remember, there's this one producer who worked in American Hustle Life, and he said that he was told by SM Entertainment that BTS is like an experiment group, like an in between group, and that it's not going to fail or whatever. And so the impression that a lot of people are getting is that BTS actually failed in the beginning. This is not true. They were actually very successful in the beginning in one respect. Okay. So in one of the articles, in one of the interviews that Bang Shiyuk gave out, he actually said that people think BTS didn't do well initially, but they were actually successful from the beginning. I know it sounds like a good story to say that they weren't successful in the beginning, but they returned from the US having succeeded. But that's not all. They received all the rookie awards in the first year and were very, very successful. Okay. So Let's just classify what he said. In terms of recognition, they were successful. They swept the Rookie of the Year award. So remember, in the book, Beyond the Story, the group actually stated that they would come to the awards show, the awards night, and then get the award and then go home. So they were actually getting the award of for Rookie of the Year. Okay. So in the book, they actually describe that. In the first four releases, it was like a seesaw for them. Okay, so we've already established that critically, they were very much recognized. In the book, though, they did say that in terms of sales, it was a seesaw for them. So it would do well and then down and then do well again and then down again. But now let's go a little deeper. In the book, they said that it's not that the sales won't go up, it's simply not going up as well as they thought it would. Because you have to improve, okay? You have to improve uh, by a certain percentage for you to actually see some measure of success. So it's just that they weren't getting enough improvements in terms of sales, but they were successful. Okay. Um, so that's number one. They were successful. Number two, the other thing is that a lot of people believe that bankruptcy happened before BTS's debut. That Big Hit actually went bankrupt before BTS's debut. That's actually not true. Um, in this, in the same interview, Bang Shiyuk actually shared that one of the things that he was considering was closing the company after the debut of BTS. So BTS already debuted and they were still not doing well financially, and he was considering closing the company. And so someone actually asked him, "Do you not believe in BTS? If you don't believe in BTS, then close the company. If you believe in BTS, get another loan," which he did. He went for another loan. So it only goes to show that he never actually filed for bankruptcy. And he actually stated that he never filed. They were almost bankrupt, but they never meant that they never filed for bankruptcy. Okay. So after the debut, when he was thinking about closing the company, and someone told him that, "Do you not believe in your group?" What he did to not file for bankruptcy was that he filed another loan for, I think, another like 17 million or something, or something. Okay. So from pre-debut, right before I Need You, Big Hit was struggling. They never actually filed for Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is what we call bankruptcy here in the US. I don't know what it is in South Korea. But they almost filed, but never filed. Okay? So that's one. BTS did well. They were recognized. They won awards. And as you know, 2014, they first went to KCON. It was very well received. It's just that they weren't getting the conversions in terms of sales. Okay. Didn't Hype go bankrupt because of the girl group that had the controversy? No, that was Glam. But that was the beginning of their well, they were already struggling at that time, but that made it worse. So Glam was the one that had the controversy. I didn't include Glam because they're not BTS here, but yeah. So two members of Glam got embroiled into a controversy with an actor in South Korea. So they were actually sued for blackmail. Okay. So but that was like that made it worse for Big Hit. Okay, so another is that for where's that? Oh. Okay, so another thing is that for their Troubadour show, so if you would remember, BTS went to America, to the US, as a part of their American Hustle Life show with NBC. And in that, they were actually shown giving away um, flyers to people, inviting people to go to their show in the US. Okay. All right. So they did that. And a lot of people, there was just this is them actually giving out the flyers. And so there were two. there were two common narrative: that nobody showed up in the show, that's one, and second, that there was no prior notice, that they did it on the day off, which is actually not true. They announced 2 days before, that's one. BTS themselves did it via Twitter. They announced it via Twitter, and they released a press release. Okay, now, this is them inviting, that's Jin, inviting people to show up. And this is the press release. So it was picked up by Jeff Benjamin, one of your favorite writers. So this was 2014, and he wrote about it. He said that the BTS announced a free show surprise LA concert. It was happening in 2 days, so less than 48-hour notice, and it's called the Show and Prove as part of their American Hustle Life show. And this is BTS announcing it on their Twitter account. So they sent out information via traditional PR and also on their Twitter account, and they also gave out invitations. Okay. I think it was a brilliant marketing move. Yeah, it was a brilliant marketing move. So this is actually the review. One online blog actually reviewed it. They went to the show, interviewed people there. So in here, they actually were talking about people, that's Jimin. So fans actually took a picture of him getting off the car, going into the venue. And so a lot of people, so this blog actually wrote about people getting turned away because they can only accommodate 180 people. And they were just too much, too many of them. So they had to turn away people who went to the show because it was free. So people were advised to line up an hour before the show. Now, in this article actually stated that even though people were advised to line up an hour before the show, people started lining up at 8 a.m. So the show was 6 p.m., but people were already there. So this is in America, remember? So people were already there at 8 a.m. Okay. So you are Peter Pan. So this publication actually did a review, and if you go to their website, sorry, to their YouTube channel, it is still there. So let's go here. The video that they shot interviewing people are still there. Okay, let's go here. I don't know if you guys have seen this video already, but here, let me share this. Where are you? There you go. Okay. So you can see it, right? So Troubadour was actually it's like a club. It's a very small venue, and that's where BTS had their very first solo show in the US. So one after they did American Hustle Life, as part of that show, they did American Hustle Life, where they got classes, they were voice lessons, dance lessons with other hip hop artists. They the last test is for them to do a showcase in the US where they would sort of show people what they learned, and then the other half of the show is just them performing their songs. So the venue accommodated like 180 people, and it was that they could accommodate 180 people, and it was free. So you had to line up very early to get and this was 2014, back in 2014. So if you go to this website, this YouTube site, you will actually see this person was interviewed, and he was talking about like, oh, I got here at 10, I was too late, I couldn't get tickets anymore. So they interviewed a lot of early armies. So all the people that they interviewed, actually the bias was Jimin. So yes, there was already an indication of popularity of Jimin at that time. So so it's not true. Number one, it's not true that nobody showed up. There were many people who showed up, to the point that they had to turn away people. Second is that they did announce it. They announced it via their social media account, Twitter, and then they also released it through an ordinary press release. And then Jeff Benjamin was the first one to actually write about it. Okay. I know that a lot of people don't like American hustle life, but I always say that I also like, just as a protective fan, I wouldn't want them to go through it. But there were things that I believe I don't know them, so I don't know this for sure. But if I am theorizing, I would say that they learned some things in that show that eventually became very valuable in their career, right? One of those things is just being exposed to people that are actually doing hip hop. So that in itself is very valuable because it armed them with knowledge and wisdom that they obviously used after that. Okay. So okay, so it's not true that not people that people didn't show up. There a lot of people showed up and they actually announced it 2 days in advance. Okay, another common narrative is that BTS didn't reach out to the global audience. So many armies actually in the beginning like saying that BTS never made an effort to reach out to the US. It was the US reaching out to them. Okay, so it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Okay, so the first indication of success actually happened in 2014 KCON. So they performed, BTS performed in KCON. And in several interviews, including in the Harvard Business Class paper written by a Harvard business professor studying the success of Big Hit and BTS, Big Bang Shiyuk, who provided an interview, first-hand interview, actually said that he realized that the reaction of the Western American market um, was just something else. Like he realized that this is not an ordinary reaction. If you compare it to everyone else who performed, this is a different type of reaction. I was there, by the way, 2014 KCON. So he said that this is a different type of reaction. He said, this is not ordinary. I have to do something. He said that in the book and he said that in the Harvard business paper. So he met with the boys with BTS and asked them about it. Like, what do you think? Should we reach out to the American business, uh, to the American market, North American market? And at first, so as you know, Bang Shiyuk stated that a lot of the staff members of Big Hit were very much against it because they were already doing well with I Need You. This was already the start of the most beautiful moment in life. And then Bang Shiyuk felt strongly about it. He spoke with the boys and the kids, the boys, the kids said that, okay, let's do it. So they released Fire. But as you know, because their content, it's always advanced. So they didn't release it until like 2016, I think. So, and then it became successful. After that, after the success of Fire, that's when they decided to hire a publicist in the US, and that is Gazette. Okay. So, but the contract was only for a year. But Gazette did a lot for them. So he did the junket, the press junket. I know that a lot of people like demonizing this person. I certainly do not know this person. He probably is I don't know who this person is. Okay, but I do know that he did his job. Like he did what he was paid to do and he did well. Could they have hired someone better? Probably. I mean, the more expensive the person is, of course, the better they can do things for you. But he didn't do bad. The mere fact that he got BTS a slot in certain shows means that he managed to put BTS's the members' feet on the door. Now, I but also many of the talk show hosts, many of the artists that they were introduced with became very aware of BTS and the interest was heightened because of the interest of armies. So early on, whatever they are doing, armies would just hype it up, right? So, yes, the PR person, the publicist did a lot, but without the effort of BTS armies, whatever he did wouldn't have worked either. So it was like a good partnership. Okay, so Bang Shiyuk noticed the market. So this is what happened. Bang Shiyuk noticed the market interest via KCON. They dropped a song with a more global appeal, which is Fire, and then they hired a publicist in the US. but they did not renew the contract. After 1 year, they kind of figured out we can do this. We can do this on our own. So they let go of the person. Okay. Next, common narrative that vocal line didn't participate in the production and writing of BTS's music in the early days, and that it was all the rap line doing the work, which is not true. Very early on, despite the lack of experience of the vocal line, despite not having any kind of classes yet at that time to write music and whatever, the vocal line was already helping. And they did a lot of writing, especially, and many of that became like iconic lines of BTS. So, for example, the line that says, "My name is Jungkook, the scale is nationwide," that's actually Jungkook's own line. He wrote that. He was the one who wrote that. It's just that he didn't get credits because he wasn't registered in well, yeah, he wasn't registered in Comca, and most likely because at that time there wasn't yet an awareness, I guess, maybe, I don't know, but we know, and BTS actually acknowledged that he wrote that line himself. And then he helped a lot in figuring out melody. When Suga was stuck in certain thing, in something, he would go to the vocal line, ask them to just sing and see if he can find something. So Jungkook was a huge help. Okay. So in this scene in American Hustle, in one of their, it's still there. It's uploaded on YouTube. But there was this one scene where Suga was stuck in something, and then they just asked Jungkook to sing it. And so Jungkook was trying out different things, and Suga was like, "Oh, okay, I got it." So they were helping even during the early times. Again, despite the lack of experience of the vocal line, they were contributing to the writing. They weren't credited, but they were contributing to the writing. So don't ever allow anybody say that it was just all the rap line. A bulk of it was the rap line, but vocal line contributed. And this is another one. It was actually Jin who said that Jimin was the one who wrote the melody for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And that is one of their most iconic songs, right? So he said that in Blood, Sweat, and Tears, he made the melody. And then he said Jimin writes very good melodies, and J Hope said right. But Jimin is not credited as a composer in Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but they clearly stated it was his melody. So the members themselves are the ones that are attesting to the fact that the vocal line contributed a lot. And as I've said, some of the things that they did are actually some of their most iconic lines and iconic songs. Okay, next. Another common narrative was that BTS was never allowed to do individual projects. So this is whenever people like hating on Big Hit or whatever, BTS was never given the freedom. Of course they were. Very, very early on, RM was actually doing a lot of collaborations on his own. And many of the songs that RM wrote in the beginning weren't formally released. He was just doing it because he wanted to do it. So Whaley, I don't know the right pronunciation, but he did a song with him. So they were allowed to actually do and pursue individual activities, individual projects. So I guess because it was the rap line who had more, who were the rap line who was more advanced in terms of writing, they were the ones who were actually doing more individual projects. For the vocal line, that didn't come until later. Okay, next. Big Hit staff. So this is another common narrative that it was actually Big Hit staff, specifically the CEO of Big Hit, that created the lore of BTS, the Bangtan universe. Okay, not true. Even in the book, they stated that the most beautiful moment in life was Suga's mastermind. That's not mastermind, but yeah, Suga was the mastermind behind the most beautiful moment in life. Now, I'm not saying that Big Hit staff didn't contributed. Who knows what happened? But what I'm saying is that it was his idea. It was his masterpiece. They called it his magnum opus. So it's most likely, if I'm just theorizing, purely speculating, I have absolutely no idea if it is true, but if I am going to speculate, my guess is that the basic idea came from him and then the team helped develop it, right? Because he doesn't have all the time in the world to actually develop it. So they probably have professionals actually develop the storyline, but the most likely the initial idea came from him. So the most beautiful moment in life is their breakaway success. That's when everything came Wale. Okay. Wale is how you pronounce it. Okay, thank you. So, for the most beautiful moment in life, that's where their success actually started. So, their success started with Big Hit. Sorry, BTS, not Big Hit. So, a lot of people, just to discredit BTS's contribution to their own lore, would say that no, it's actually most likely no. Even the book actually stated this is Suga's magnum opus. He did that. Okay. Another common narrative is that Big Hit. So, okay, so this is a lot of confusion about this. So Big Hit is the sister company of Hybe, or Big Hit has less independence than subsidiaries. So two things are being floated around. So let's try to explore this. One of the reasons why people are getting confused is that they're trying to look at it from one point of view. When in fact, if you're running, especially a business like this, there you have to look at it from different points of view. Okay. So let's look at this. Okay. So this is kind of how it is structured. I'm curious what you're actually seeing. Wait a minute. What are you seeing? Okay. So this is the basic structure. You can look at it from different perspectives. Okay. One, see here. One second. Okay. So you can look at it from different perspectives. One of which is that there are different aspects of of a company: ownership, operations, practical influence, and direction. Right? Okay. Do you have Adobe Creative Suite? Yes. So so for example, for this, you can look at it in different ways. One is operations, ownership, practical influence, and direction. Keep in mind that Big Hit's earnings, it's actually included in the financial report of Hybe at the end of the year. Okay, so they are not entirely 100% independent and has nothing to do with Hybe. That's crazy. Their income is actually included in the report of Hybe. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that we all know that Big Hit is 100% owned by Hybe. It's just that they are a private company. It's just that we're trying to figure out what does that actually mean. Okay. So another thing is that Big Hit artist projects are reported to shareholders whenever they do their quarterly call to their shareholders. Okay. Um, Now, the primary difference between the subsidiaries and Big Hit is the board of directors from a structural point of view. Again, you always have to think about things from different perspectives. From a structural point of view, each of the subsidiaries, Pledis, Source Music, Be Lift, Adore, etc., they have their own board of directors. So Hybe assigns a board of directors to the company. So when they want to do something drastic or big, the board of directors have to approve it. Now, those board of directors report to Hybe. Okay, so that's what happens from a structural point of view. Big Hit has no board of director. So if they want to do something big, one of those examples would be when Bang Shiyuk restructured the contract of BTS members. He went directly to the board of directors of Hybe, not the board of directors of Big Hit, because Big Hit does not have a board. Is that clear? So he wanted to do something drastic. The contract of BTS for him to actually go to the board of directors. That means it's really something different, and it is very different. So instead of going to the board of directors of Big Hit, he went to the board of directors of Hybe and got it approved there. Okay, so structurally, that's the main difference. But Big Hit shares all of the resources of Hybe with the rest of the subsidiaries. That means, in terms of the building, they share that with other subsidiaries. Functions like networks, PR department, marketing department, production department, performance directors, they share all of that with the rest of the groups. Are they the priority? Clearly they are. BTS themselves mentioned that they have their own studio, they have their own makeup area, they have their own team. Whenever they do international shows, they actually have their own team. So they are very much prioritized. But they share those resources as well. Okay? Hope that's clear. So if we look at that structure, it's going to look like this. Okay. So I don't know how much you can actually see. Let me see if I can. Okay. So um every group, every subsidiary, they have a board of director. So the board of directors would be the ones to go to Hybe to get approval if there's something big that they need. And then Hybe will then talk to the board of directors of Hybe, the owners of Hybe, to get it approved. Okay. For Big Hit, something drastic happens, to just go to the board of directors directly. But they still are 100% owned by Hybe. Okay. So the main strength of Big Hit over others is the ownership. Okay. On this side, you can see the biggest shareholders of Big Hit. So that's Bang Shiyuk owning 31.57%. He's the majority shareholder and also the chairman of the board of directors of Hybe. Okay. And then Net Marble owns 8.44%. NPC, the National Pension Services of Korea, owns 7.54%. And then Dunamu owns 5.63. Sometimes it's 5.5. And then BTS as a unit. Okay, a lot of people keep on asking me about this. As a unit, if you actually combine um, all the ownership of each member of BTS, that's 1.1%, which is higher, which is more than Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun owns 0.8%, but BTS as a unit is 1.1%. And then you have Hybe company. So other members that represents all the employees of BTS, sorry, employees of Hybe, and their subsidiaries who own a share. Okay, that's actually the major difference and the biggest advantage of Big Hit over other subsidiaries, because they have the power to influence the board of directors. The board, because majority is owned by Bang Shiuk, and then BTS themselves are voting share members. Should Big Hit be connected by and not in the same box as Hybe? They are the home team, if you would call it. If you can, if they are the home team. It's like Hybe is Big Hit. Big Hit is Hybe. Does that make sense? Like if you think Big Hit, it's Hybe. Because they share the same board of directors. No, I did not complete that. That seems not up to date. I did not complete all the companies, so I don't. It's just this is just for demonstration. I wasn't intending to show you the full corporate structure. This is just to make people understand where is Big Hit in this entire structure. It's like Big Hit is Hybe, Hybe is Big Hit. If you put them, okay. I get what you're saying. If you put Big Hit, uh, if you put them there, it looks like they're reporting to Hybe. They are not. They're owned by Hybe. They're still 100% owned by Hybe. It's shown in the structure. They're 100% owned by Hybe. It's just that there is no board of directors that control them. So they go directly to the board of directors of Hybe. If they need something, they just go directly to the. So it's like a home team, something like that. So whatever happens to Hybe is Big Hit is Hybe, something like that. I would put them, so that is the again, if try to look at it, because you're combining like operations with ownership with influence. You have to look at it from different perspectives, right? In terms of operations, Big Hit if there's anything drastic that they need, anything big, they just go directly to the board of directors of Hype. They cannot just make a decision without getting, if it is major, again, that's the emphasis, if it is major, they can't just do it without the approval of the board of directors of Big Hit. They still need, if it is something major, they still need the approval of board of directors of Big Hit, of Hype. But other subsidiaries, if they need something big approved, they need to go to their board of directors. The board of directors go to Hybe, and then Hybe then gets the approval of the board of directors. For Big Hit, it's just direct. The same way, it's like the same way Hybe operates, right? If Hybe needs to do something, they go directly to the board of directors. The same thing for Big Hit. So structurally, that's the difference. But in terms of ownership, Big Hit is 100% owned by Hybe. I think nobody's denying that, right? The mere fact that so it's 100% owned by Hybe. It's not owned by anybody else but Hybe. So when you're thinking of it, the best way to do it when you're thinking of it is that you think of it depending on the situation that you need to think about it. So in terms of structure, for example, like, oh, approval, operations, this is how they operate. In terms of ownership, but for you to have like one structure for all situations, that would be impossible for you to. Um, this seems like I had always heard that Bang Shiok had set up Big Hit to protect them, but this makes it seem like the bottom line is that Big Hit is controlled by Hybe. Big Hit is 100% owned by Hybe. Nobody else. It's 100% owned by Hybe. I don't think anybody denies that. We all know that, right? It's 100% owned by Hybe. And you'll ask anybody and they will tell you Big Hit is 100% owned by Hybe. So the main difference is that they are directly connected to the board of directors of Hybe. So how is Big Hit considered a private company? Because it's like they are a home team. So again, you're getting confused because you're thinking of it, you're trying to unify all functions. Ownership is, you have to think of it in different structures: operations, ownership, whatever, the structure, those are all different things in the way that you would structure the company. So don't like, okay, so like, oh, you're saying if you want to like, oh, if you want to know how is this entire setup protecting Big Hit, think about specific situations. Think about specific situations. Can what happened to Adore happen to Big Hit? Probably not, right? I understood Big Hit is privately held and Bang PD set up that per, so happy for that. Yes, it is privately held 100% by Hype. So think about it, when Bang PD changed the contract of Big Hit, what did he do? He went to the board of directors of Hype. He didn't make the decision on his own, right? He went to the board of directors of Hype to get it approved. So that's ownership. But in terms of operations, because Big Hit is Hype and Hype is Big Hit, then they are more independent because they can just do things. BTS doesn't have to go through as many layers to get what they want. Yeah. So whatever they set a blanket thing, and yeah. So in terms of structure, in terms of ownership, again, take a cue from what Bang PD did. When he changed the contract, he went to the board of directors of Hybe. He didn't make the decision on his own. Okay. When you're buying shares of Hybe, you're not buying shares of Big Hit. However, you are profiting off Big Hit. Yes, but you can say the same thing about each subsidiary because all of their money, all of their income gets reported to Hybe's earnings. right? Our guys got paid. They keep on getting paid. Yeah. So that is the best way I can describe it. You have to look at it per function for that to be very understandable to you. When they restructure the contract, Bang Shiyuk went to the board of directors of Big Hit. So they are 100% owned by Hype. Because it was so big. It was very different. It was very different. With your structure, uh if Hype goes down, then so would Big Hit. If Hype goes down, with that structure, everyone else will go down before Big Hit goes down, right? Because Hype is the umbrella company, so they control everything. Everything else is below them. So each of this company will fall before Big Hit falls. Pledis contributes a lot to Hype's profitability too. Yeah, they do. They do. So when Jin wanted to do his tour, just went to the high board of directors, or who went to the high board of directors for things like that. Those are very specific. But when he mentioned, because they caught it on camera when he said that, what let's just do a tour. What the first thing that the director said was, "I'm going to talk to the performance team." So no, something like that, the board does not have to approve. Otherwise, that's the first thing that the director would have said. But the first thing that he said was, "I'm gonna go to the performance team." So it means that he didn't need approval. That is what I'm talking about when I say Big Hit is Hype. Hype is Big Hit when it comes to operation, because they can make their own decisions. Okay. So that is my tip. Don't look at it from a singular point of view, from a singular perspective. So think of what is it that you're thinking about, and then look at the structure that way. Okay? Do you have questions? Hype is unlikely to go down. With this structure, everyone else is going to go down before Big Hit does. That's the way to look at it. Does Big Hit have any escape plan if Hype starts to crumble? Um, there, I have never seen their contract. That's all I can say. So there are rumors and word on the street, but I've never seen their contract, so I don't know if they are just rumors or if there is any basis to that. But according to that, yes, there is a plan. High board probably isn't going to get into creative or touring related conversations. Yeah, most of them would be, like, for example, something that would have to go to the board of directors would be, I want to purchase a company. That's probably that goes to the board. But if they're like, oh, the final lineup, that doesn't, like, if they're Cortis, for example, if they're coming up with a final lineup of Cortis, that doesn't go to the board. That's a big hit. If Hype gets in trouble, they will sell subsidiaries before they think about touching Big Co. Yes. That's what I was saying. Like, in this structure, everyone is gonna go down first before Big Hit. Okay. And then in terms of operations, you have Big Hit is Hype, Hype is Big Hit. In terms of ownership, yeah. So does that make sense? Big Hit does not have other investors. They just have Hype, and other labels have mixture of Hype and other investors. So each need their own board of director, while Hype's BOD, Big Hit only needs Hype BOD. So I think Adore is fully owned by Hype, but because of the independence that they gave Minhee Jin, but supposedly it was 100% owned by Hype. So yeah, Pledis that has a co-owner, B-Lift has a co-owner, Source Music has a co-owner. We versus theirs 100%. Their contract is personal business, should never be revealed to the public. Correct. It's just It's a monumental contract. This contract is personal business, should not. The structure should have high board of directors on top of yeah, but I couldn't fit it in my screen. So I just put it on the side. It's actually the board of directors should be inside Hive. So when a door was created for Minhee Jin, Hive would go to the Hive board of directors to create it. Correct. So yes. So Bang Shiyuk, when he was creating it, had to get the approval of the board of directors. Bang Shiyuk built BTS together. They built Hive. Cause is 100%. Oh no, that's co-owned as well. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that is clear. That is clear in everybody's head. So in terms of operations, Big Hit is Hybe. Hybe is Big Hit. In terms of ownership, Big Hit is 100% owned by Hybe. They do not have a board of director. If they need to do something major, they just go. That's when they get the approval of board of directors of Hybe, as opposed to other subsidiaries. They have their own board of directors who then need to get approval from the board of directors of Hybe. So that's B-Lift doesn't have a co-owner. It's 100%. Oh, okay, good. It's missing on the page. What is missing on the page? I couldn't fit. This was not meant to be like a complete corporate structure or anything. I just wanted to demonstrate where Big Hit is in different types of functions. BTS help Hype. Okay, yeah. And then the last one that I wanted to correct is that actually there are two more. So one is that everyone keeps on saying this, that Big Hit was so poor they had to record in a garage. So it's a little bit more nuanced than that, because this place was actually during their American Hustle life. So this was when they were in the US doing the recording in between their show, American Hustle Life. But do remember that during that time, even for big labels, renting a place is really very expensive. So they were doing, but that was only when they were doing American Hustle Life. In South Korea, they had a studio. Okay. So just they weren't that a lot of people were like, oh, Bang Shiuk didn't pour in money. No, he invested any money that he can invest to Big Hit, to the boys. It's just that when they were in LA, remember this was like 12 years ago, so they didn't have a lot of we even here we didn't have a lot of studios around that's just affordable, not like now for sure. So it's very very expensive to rent a studio, so they did it in their garage just while they were doing American Hustle Life. And then another common narrative is that J-Hope auditioned for JYP and didn't pass, or that he trained in JYP but was dropped. This is absolutely not true. He joined competitions with Neuron sponsored by JYP or organized by JYP, and he won a lot of them. So he didn't train in JYP. He just joined competitions. So this is one of the clips that have been widely circulated by people saying that, oh, he didn't pass JYP. He won competitions that were organized by JYP. Okay. So just wanted to clear that out, because like I hear that a lot, like, oh, J-Hope was this and that. That's absolutely not true. Also, I don't know if you know this, but Jungkook was actually a sub rapper when they when they debuted. He was the main vocalist and he was a sub rapper. That's why he would rap in some of the the clips that they had. And another thing, this is also a common misconception, but Jimin was a sub dancer, and one of the reasons he was at the risk of being eliminated from the team was because his position was not important. Absolutely not true. He was a main dancer when he debuted. He was the main dancer of Big Hit of of BTS. So he wasn't a lead dancer. He wasn't a sub dancer. He was the main dancer. So Wasn't there an article or post about the guys having a great time in LA and just enjoying their time versus a more structured way of working? Correct. Yeah, that's true. The Garage was a short-term thing. They did the majority of the album. I think in the Garage they finished Danger, and then the rest of the albums they finished back in Korea. So just wanted to make that clear. Like Bang Shiyuk, he was being honest when he said that he poured money in that group. He everything that he could get. So okay. So just to clarify, so yeah, when they debuted, Jimin was a main dancer, and then Jungkook was a sub rapper and also the main vocalist. So that's it. Does anyone know why Jimin was threatened to get kicked out of many times, even though he debuted as a lead singer and main dancer? Um, Jimin trained in he used to do like battles, so he would do hip hop very early in his life. But the type, and then he went into modern dancing. So the way that he would move was different from what Big Hit needed at that time, or at least they thought they needed at that time. That's why he was at the risk of getting caught. And also, do remember, it was 6 months. Big Hit. BTS was going to debut already. They were slated to debut. They have like a lot of things locked, loaded, and they were just about to fire. And then there's this one guy who hasn't trained a lot coming in. Most likely, people are not going to see he fits, right? Because you have the rest of the team training for at least a year. And then, and then suddenly you have this one guy here saying that they might, of course, people are going to doubt. Um, but we all know what happened. So there were two members in Big Hit who insisted and said that you have to absolutely include this guy in the team. And Bang Shi honestly said that he was really not sure. But the other thing that he was very sure about was that he was sure he did not know everything. So he acknowledged that. He said that I'm not always right. And so if the team, if Big Hit, if the rest of the members feel very strongly about this, then there must be something I'm not seeing. And the rest is history. So because he had to forget everything he knew about dancing and relearn modern to K-pop. Yeah. But I guess it worked out because um a lot of the things that they needed a main dancer for, like for example in Blood, Sweat and Tears, he was an integral part of it. So because of his background. So every member of that of BTS is perfect for the team. If you remove one member, it won't be BTS. So Suga, yeah, Suga was one of the one. So remember in Suchuita, Jimin did tell Suga that in his head, I guess when people were saying that he didn't belong to BTS, in his head, he kind of was like, yeah, maybe this is not my team. But then he said that he remembers that one time when they were lying on a bunk bed, and I think Suga was on the lower bed. And Suga said, you have to debut. Like, you have a unique voice. You absolutely have to debut. And that's when he first felt it, that this is his team. So, okay. Imagine Black Swan, an alchemy of faith. Everything came together perfect, right? I mean, RM run away 6 months before debut. And without the wisdom, can we just give a round of applause to his father? Without the wisdom of his father, we wouldn't have RM in the team. We wouldn't have BTS, right? So it was his father who told him, "You will absolutely blame me if I do not push you back to go. If I don't push you to go back. So you have to go back." J Hope left the team, and he just went back because the team spoke to him. So all of these things came together. They at some point they were all tested. Do you really not belong to this team or whatever? Even Jungkook didn't want to sing in the beginning. He said that he wasn't so passionate about singing. He really wanted to dance after his dance lessons in the US. He said he came back, wanted to give up dancing and just sing. So all of they were tested. Each one of them were tested one by one, and then things came together. So this is perfection as we know it. Okay. We are 28 minutes over time. I will see you next week. Every member is perfect for the yes. Every member is perfect for the team, and the team is perfect for every member. Um, so yes, I think this is a once. A lot of people say like, oh, they are once in a generation, that they are a generational group. I disagree. They come only once. That's it. It's not once in a lifetime. It's not once in a generation. It's once. You don't get another one. It's the same thing for like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, and there won't be another Michael Jackson in any lifetime. There's just one Michael Jackson. Something as great as this, you get one. You get one, and that's it. And the same thing for BTS. You get it once, that's it. You will not get it again. So there will be a live stream on Wednesday. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you. Um, yeah. So next week, not next week. Next Wednesday, I'll see you. I'll try to do something earlier. Do you want me to do early? You should let this video. You should let this video on YouTube. Oh yes, it is going to be there on YouTube. There won't be another David Bowie. Correct. Yeah. There are artists that you don't get another one of. That's it. The universe is saying, I'm not that. I'm generous, but not that generous. Okay. I'll see you Wednesday. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye.